I'm back down to one entry again. The Ogre by Fingleton. Let's see here. What games have you got busy on record? There, send the URLs. Let's see here. Not a whole lot, I guess. So this guy isn't a 70-year-old developer, but he jumped into the Roguetemple's Fortnight here. With the Ogre. And yes, it's just by him. Ogre Smash, Ogre Kill, a game for Roguetemple's Fortnight made with Prism. This is more of a vertical slice than a game, but basically zero procedural generation. Use Control plus to scale the game window. Tile set by Vex, Ogre by me, font by Mr. Mo. And there's WinZips if you want to play in Windows. There's a license here, but I don't see a README or anything like that, so you can view the license if you want to and all that stuff. But I think we're just going to jump into the EXE here and see how it goes. Don't know which is best, but whatever. So I'll note that it's not complete full screen, but whatever. We can deal with that. Or if that's basically full screen or not. All right, let's see here. Windowed, and we're just gonna make it go to the Ogre here. Very big window at least. That helps. Whoops. Yes, try to bring us into view. All right, there we go. I'm starting to get somewhere. Center just a little bit. Good enough. All right, well. Now, this is something to note about. You're actually a two-tile, beast here. Ogre Smash. Okay, we can grab stuff. And I can throw stuff. Okay, we threw that obviously at that guy. Then we attacked you. So you have a bit of a sightline problem with walls and doors, by the way. Did someone throw something at me, or was that the archer doing that? Apparently he survived that throw. Alright, we killed him. Stepping on Bez does nothing apparently, so, you know, whatever. Game over. Okay, let's restart here. Okay, so apparently there's an issue of like trying to restart your game. I mean, it's not a big issue, you can just like restart, but you know, it's an issue obviously. It's gonna restart again. And we'll make sure basically we're capturing this again, so I'm just going to push this over here for a moment. Okay, yeah, we're definitely capturing it, so that's fine. Oh, we have a club now. Interesting. When the gate gets thrown, it doesn't necessarily get smashed. Or like, you know, DR is like a rampage ability or something. Like basically you see a bar fills up and we get our ability to do red. So that's a thing. Alright, we are in our error. I basically tried to throw the gate at that archer and it crashed. So there's definitely bugs with the game. But let's just move over to like the browser and see if like that's still an issue there. Alright, so I got this basically right here. I unfortunately don't see a way to like, you know, I don't see a way basically of like, you know, what was I saying? I have no idea. I lost my train of thought. Killed all them. Basically, I tried to take the gate and I threw it at like, you know, the archer and immediately crashed the game. So, is that going to happen here? All right, so there's basically some issue of like throwing the game, like throwing stuff basically like like that. Oh, I can go full screen right here. Cool. Hey, look at that. We got ourselves a different layout finally. Need to have like more like procedural generation by the way, but whatever. Let's grab the full table. And we'll throw it at you. So I wonder like if we basically step through like a door, will it basically cause this bug? Because it seems like it seems like the obvious thing to do is just immediately walk in and like throw that out at a guy and like there's an issue there basically. Bit of an issue basically escaping out of like selecting stuff by the way in like this browser mode because obviously escape, but whatever. Again, issues with the door. Was she supposed to survive that? I'm not really sure. Got him. We're doing far better at avoiding like damage this time around, which is cool, so. Now the only like hindrance I'm basically knowing here is the fact that like there isn't no like sort of procedural generations. It's like all set maps. Can't pick up beds by the way. I'm tempted to like throw something there, but I don't obviously have like issues, so we'll not do that. Let's run. That worked fine. Am I like looking for the king or something, or you win? I mean, it's a really cool idea what you got here, but there's no procedural generation, so it makes it sort of like hard to sort of like, you know, judge this as being a roguelike. What do I want to say? Basically, say here. Congratulations, you're apparently game number 10 here. So, the Ogre. I'll basically get this out of the way just so, you know, define why, but no. I'll just like updates because this, like, you know, also include this idea as well. Basically, like, you know, with like Killing Dreams, so like, you know, it had like, you know, rearranged like map tiles and stuff like that, but the problem here is like, you know, like, that's just something I know basically here. Like, the lack of procedural generation, like, you know, the thing about, like, Roguelike is that they're supposed to have procedural generation, so you don't know what the puzzle is basically going to be. If you basically, like, figure out the puzzle, like, that's basically what I did there. Figure out how to, like, you know, avoid, mitigate, like, damage to my health, and that's, like, you know, win just by, like, you know, where to stand, stuff like that, as opposed to anything else. It could be a cool idea if you basically have, like, you know, procedure during, like, you know, rooms and stuff like that, like, you know, stuff basically ring around, like, randomly, but wasn't there, so we have bugs, so there would be bugs. So yes, there'd be bugs and it can cause the game to crash. Yes, this is the other thing, by the way, I know as well. Like, you know, even if like such a simple game as this, a little bit of instruction, like, you know, what, like, you know, Rampage basically is, like, you know, how you're supposed to use it, that would have been so nice. What do I want to basically say here? For completers, we're basically looking for, like, you know, stuff like, you know, was it polished? Was it missing features? I'll give this you a 2 here, because it's not like too bad, but I mean, it could have been better for sure. Aesthetics. Okay, what do I want to say here? I think you lose a point basically for, like, you know, the sightline issue. But other than that, like, you know, there wasn't like anything really, like, you know, really wrong with anything here. Like, controls were fine, the graphics were fine. You know, That's basically like the only things to say there. It's like, it more or less worked just fine. So I feel I'll give you a 2 because I like the idea. It's just like, it's done. I don't need to go back to the game. I've already seen it, and I have no intention of ever like going back to the game. Like, there's like no like replayability to it. So there's that. But yeah, simple ideas. I like the idea like you could basically hold stuff to shield yourself, but it seems like your shields basically lack durability. Um, like being able to like to throw stuff is cool, but it's like this is all you're doing. It's just like you're picking up enemies, you're throwing them around, you're running into them, you're smashing them. It didn't feel like there's basically enough basically to the gameplay is the thing, right? So more could have been done. What am I say for this scope? Like you definitely has something here, but what's the way you expect for a 70RL? I think this missed a little bit of a mark because it felt like there's like a little bit too simple. Like here's the thing, I really like the idea here, but it felt like what you could like has like maybe like interact with like traps or like potions or something to sort of like also interact with. A bit more could have been done to sort of like really flesh out the experience a little bit more. I've already gone over like why is this in a roguelike, so I think that basically sums it up pretty well. Like it was pretty good, but it needs more, and it needs to be like a proper roguelike really. Like this is something like I probably like throw if this was the 70RL, this is something I would have actually classified as like something for like other jurors to skip, because there's no procedural narration here. It's a handmade game, and if it's basically a handmade game, then like it's not worth reviewing. I mean, it's a cool gaming concept, but it wasn't roguelike, so there's that. All right, final thoughts. You get like a 2.6, so you're sort of middle of the pack, and like compared to like everyone else here, You're not the worst, like, one to like make a game here. Not the best. So that was basically The Ogre by Fingleton. And yeah, I got this, like, this display here again. So let's just run through it quickly if I can. So use cursor keys by as well, besides WAS. So control plus to scale the game window. I've never actually tried that. Did I scale it right? I'm not really sure. It not exactly working properly, I guess, but whatever. I'm not gonna like beat around on it, so whatever. It's fine. That's it for that game. Hope you guys basically enjoy it and take care.